Well, hello, Dirtfish friends, and welcome to the Dirtfish House here in Foz, David. We are once again just so lucky to have this as our little studio.
It's amazing, isn't it? Every year we come back and it is just beautiful. Best house of the year?
Well, I'd say so by a long way. We're only round about 3 k's from the service park. It is absolutely perfect. And it's a perfect place, David, for our end of rally review. Do you know what, Rally Portugal, every year we come here with a great deal of anticipation and excitement, because it is a rally that almost invariably gives us plenty to talk about, plenty of drama, plenty of action. Let's start with Toyota, shall we? Let's start with Kalle Rovanperä, because, you know, if there were any questions whatsoever about Rovanperä's form, his ability, his desire...
Any questions from you, Cole?
question? I never had a single question about it. They were completely dispelled here this weekend.
Totally, 100%. And at the end of the event, he gave us, not chapter and verse, but certainly reasons why the performance hadn't been there, running first on this event, and also some personal reasons, which he understandably and quite rightly doesn't want to discuss. Who knows, Colin, what is going on in people's lives, in Kalle Rovanperä's life. Other stuff's been happening, and it plays on your mind, sometimes.
As a young man who has had the most meteoric rise to global stardom, with an awful lot of expectation on his shoulders, an awful lot of scrutiny of what he does, and it's not an easy situation to deal with. And then when you add your personal issues, personal problems, personal circumstances to all of that, it becomes very difficult. And you can understand entirely.
Of course it
what
does.
he was talking about.
But the really interesting one for me was when we talked to Jari-Matti earlier today. Jari-Matti Lavela, team principal, said he noticed a change coming out of Croatia. There was a bit of anger there, a bit of fire that Kalle hadn't performed. He hadn't got to the podium. He hadn't done what he hoped to do, and that filled him with a bit more oomph, didn't it, for this one?
I have never, ever, in 20 years of interviewing drivers, I've never heard them expressing the opportunity to attack the way that Rovanperä did. We've seen it before. It rains, he says. Most drivers say, oh my goodness, it was raining. I took it easy. I made sure I got through the stage. Rovanperä, it rains. There's an opportunity. I'll attack.
Callum Duffy on Mull.
Thanks, David.
Keeping it real.
Yesterday, Rovanperä into the first stage. You asked him, did you have a particular strategy for that stage? And he said, look, I got into the stage, first 4 corners, it was slippery. I'm instantly thinking he's going to say,
I backed off. No,
that was the opportunity. I knew others would struggle. I have never heard, I'm sure other drivers have had that mindset, but I've never heard them expressing it that way, David.
The obvious one would be to look back to Richard Burns when he went into a stage and it was foggy.
Yeah,
suddenly, there was opportunity, and instead of well remembered, Colin.
But it was a magnificent week for Kalle Rovanperä. We caught up with him at the end of the rally. This is what he had to tell us.
It was a plan to do a weekend like this. I was really sure after Croatia that we had some, opening the roads, few rallies and struggling with that, and then puncture there. I know that when we have a clean weekend, we can do it like before, and that was the aim to do it here.
So congratulations to Kalle and to Joni Holton. Another absolutely magnificent performance. He will pay the price potentially in Sardinia, David. First on the road there. Let's talk just a little about Elfyn Evans, David, because we learned a little bit more today about the ferocity of that crash. We were on site to take in the scene. We struggled to work out exactly what had happened. There's been no onboard that's been made public, and we don't really know, but we understand that he rolled that car 6 times down that stage. It's an enormous accident.
And it's quite remarkable because, as you rightly said, Cole, that these new space frame chassis, the body panels are just bolted on. So as soon as you hit anything, they're flying off everywhere. A car that's normally rolled 6 times, there's nothing left of it. It's just the space frame, the actual tubular chassis. That one, everything was there. So the inference is that he rolled so quickly and he rolled in the air that nothing had time to sort of shed the parts. The issue that we weren't fully aware of the severity of it, because we were talking to Scotty briefly, and Scotty just kept saying it was a biggie, and didn't actually go into much detail. And then, of course, like you say, we didn't get the onboard. So I think, we need to just not apologise, but just recognise that, it was a monstrous accident.
Takamoto Katsuta did a decent job out there. His rally was compromised clearly by that problem that appeared, I think, in the opening stage of the event, the electrical gremlins with the alternator, David. But, he contributed for the first time in terms of manufacturer points. He scored points in the power stage as well. I guess it's a story of what might have been for Cassius. It was a clean, tidy rally, positive rally for him.
You know, what might have been, I'm not sure about that, Col. You know, he doesn't need, particularly on these point-scoring rallies, he doesn't really need to be in there trying to win it.
Let's move on then to Hyundai, David. A dramatic weekend for them. Who do we start with? Thierry Neuville?
No, let's start with the positive. Let's start with Danny Sordo.
Yeah, what a weekend. Danny Sordo.
Unbelievable.
Do you know what? I remember talking to Danny in the middle of last year, and he talked about, you know, his appetite for rallying, whether he was going to stay in the World Rally Championship. And he was basically saying, this was the middle of the year, he said, I'm going to wait till after Spain and see if my pace is still there. He obviously decided to stay on. I think this event, he was the fastest of the Hyundais, the most comfortable Hyundai driver out there. By his own admission, in the right set of circumstances, is still extremely competitive.
100%. And, you know, he just delivered here, Col, on every level. And I could stand here for the next however long and extol the virtues of Danny Sordo. I'm not going to do that because Danny's message for Craig Breen and for Ray and Jackie and the whole Breen family was so much more important. Let's just listen to what Danny had to say.
I don't know, before Power Stage, he has like Craig in my head. I don't know why. He come there, I was used to cry before. I say, why? I don't know. Sometimes I don't know. You have the image and like you think for sure it will be. I feel like he was with us, and I don't know. Sometimes you see these things in your mind, and it's hard, but it's like this. Yeah, he will be always with me. Okay, helmet he will be for this rally. It was a special thing for here. But of course, he's always with me, and I'm sure he's watching now. And like I say at the end of the stage, when I called him in Sweden, he was doing an amazing rally. After the first day, I called and I said, hey, now you need to push until the end. You can do it. And at the end of the rally, he said, hey, now you have the pressure. I am fast again. We have shopped the car. And now I said, it's okay. If you want to do all the season, I get the money and you do the season. And now I need to say to him, hey, Sordo is back. So if you are watching from somewhere, to see I'm back.
Wow. Yeah, remarkably moving words from Danny Sordo there. He is just the loveliest guy in the service park. He does things for the right reasons. And you know, there's not a nasty bone in that guy's body, is there?
No.
He is a super guy. And well done, Danny. He was probably the most popular podium sitter this weekend. Esapekka Lappi in third place. Another podium for Lappi. Doing a really good job for the team, David. He was solid out there. He's still got a little way to go, hasn't he, to find his top form in the car. But
I'm not sure there's that much to go now. You know, I feel he's really getting there. I mean, we're talking very small percentages now. You can't do that. You know, be that quick against Thierry Neuville. Okay, Thierry had a bit of a difficult weekend. EP has the look of a man now who is comfortable in the car. Going forward to Sardinia, it's really exciting to see how he can build on it. Super exciting. Getting to, yes, we've got Kenya, but then we go to Estonia, Finland. Wow.
Yeah. He is building now towards, his target is to win rallies this year. His best opportunity, clearly, Estonia, Finland, he's building towards.
Is he building towards a championship? Is he going to be allowed to build towards a championship?
I think he will be. Listen, Thierry Neuville has to be careful. He has to be careful, David, because, he had a very bad result in Croatia. This is another bad result here. Lappi, podium, scoring. Another bad one in Sardinia for Neuville, and another good one for Lappi. And perhaps the priorities change within the teams. I'm not saying it will, but perhaps they could.
It's a big call, but I think, if that happens, the questions get bigger and bigger and bigger, don't they? And the voices get louder and louder and louder calling for Lappi. Let's wait and see. It is going to be fascinating in the next 2 or 3 rallies to see how that team dynamic evolves.
Let's hear from Esapekka Lappi. We caught up with him in the media zone at the end of the rally.
Consistent weekend, let's say, and today was only about to save the tires for the power stage, and then in the end we managed to grab some points from there as well. So good weekend, yeah.
Tell me about the dramas in getting back here. What was the issue with all that smoke, and how worrying was it?
Well, the turbo finish just exploded on the tarmac of the power stage, where is the Collins flag and Craig's flag and this. So
you could see that on the coverage. You could see the car squatting down almost.
Yeah. I needed to give some clutch kicks, to make the uphill actually.
Well, I mentioned Cyril Abiteboul. You know, he had quite a tough weekend out there. He really did. You know, last Saturday night he had to juggle the emotions within his team in terms of who wanted to be on the podium, who deserved to be on the podium, who was going to take a little bit of a hit for the team. It was tough for
So
Cyril.
stressful. He even asked you what you'd do.
He did, and I got it bang on. There's no question about that. But you know, I don't envy Cyril's job at times. He's got some characters in that team that he has to deal with. And you know what? For a man with such little experience in the WRC, he is growing in stature, rally by rally, quite rapidly, David.
Oh,
You know,
no.
people are listening to Mr. Abiteboul.
Yep. No, absolutely.
They really are. Now listen, folks, there might be some more news to come with regards to Hyundai this weekend. We're hearing little murmurings. Now, if there is, we'll come back to you.
Or we'll come back to you on dirtfish.com.
Keep an eye on dirtfish.com, that's for sure. For any, just keep an eye on dirtfish.com.
Why
If
wouldn't
there
you?
is news, we
Always.
are coming back to you. David, let's wrap up by talking about M Sports. Oyt Tanak still talking an awful lot about work to do. It's an interesting situation. That car quite clearly works very well on the gravel on the first pass, not so well on the second pass. There is still work to do.
I think,
Will there
ultimately-
always be work to do if you're working with Tanak?
There is, but we've got to keep coming back to what Oyt said at the beginning of the season. The philosophy of the car is different. It's kind of diametrically opposite to what he wanted. It's going to take time. We can't keep expecting, he's going to be there. It takes time. There is only so much testing you can do. There's only so much development to do. You cannot rush this process.
No, it can't be
It's
rushed.
a big job that is going to take time. It might be Estonia, it might be Finland, it might be right towards the end of the season that we see 100% from both. It's going to take time. I think the one thing we can say is that M Sport couldn't be working harder than they are right now. Tanak couldn't be driving harder than he is right now.
Keeping himself very much in the championship hunt,
100%. Everybody is doing as much as they can, and when it absolutely comes together, watch out, maybe.
Watch out. Quick word for Pierre-Louis Lubé. He thinks there are positives. I also think there are positives.
There are. The speed keeps coming. It was a silly mistake, an understandable mistake. He's got to take it forward. He's got to build in Sardinia. One thing he needs to do is finish the rally. You kind of need to. When we were talking to him today, and he was talking about the potential for Sardinia, you almost want to say, forget it. Just get to the end. Trouble-free rally. The speed will be there through Friday.
David, highlight of the weekend for you.
Highlight of the weekend is the one that you haven't even mentioned because we're very short on time. The fight for WRC2. It was Of course, Kalle Rovanperä, he's the easy one. He's brilliant. He's a genius. We absolutely love him to bits. But when is it, Cole? When is it that the Rally 2 fight warms up the power stage for the Rally 1 fight?
No, I'd agree with
you.
No,
The fight
warms up. In the end, because of all the various circumstances, was
stunning.
I was a little bit. I just thought it was such a shame that the air was taken out quite literally of the fight for WRC2 by punctures. I'm sorry to say it, or by tyre failures.
By tyre issues.
By tyre issues. And it was, for me, it was just so disappointing. Mikkelsen should have been there. Not Bernard.
Yeah, but it was still. All of that, it was an utter thriller
in
that
thriller.
final
No question,
stage.
no question.
To have it decided by 1 point something seconds, and maybe we should debate, and we will debate the decision. Oliver Solberg, donuts, entertainment, the fact that we need to give 50,000 people in Lusada something else, something extra to cheer for.
They roared. They absolutely roared at the donuts. Anyway, my highlight was Danny Sordo. Danny Sordo for his performance. Danny Sordo just for being Danny Sordo, and Danny Sordo for that beautiful gesture and those wonderful words. That was my highlight of the weekend, folks. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget, we are expecting to see you for Rally Sardinia. But if you haven't had your fill of rallying and you want some late night rallying, if you're in Europe, next weekend, Oregon Trail Rally. We will be there. Dirtfish Live Centre will be ka-ching, open for business. And you know where to find it. Dirtfish.com, drop-down menu, Dirtfish Live Centre. We will be covering the wonderful, and I have to say, I have been there myself. David, you're going for the first time.
First time, can't wait.
It is a magnificent event run by the most remarkably enthusiastic and talented group of people, with some of the best competitors on the other side of the pond, just over there.
Just over there.
So, if you want your fill of rallying next weekend, Dirtfish Live Centre is the place to be. Folks, again, it's been an absolute joy. Portugal has delivered in bucket loads once again. We can't wait for Oregon Trail next weekend, but in 3 weeks' time, join us again for round 6 of the WRC. We are heading to Sardinia.